Oh, there's a switch on the
All 10 people here are waiting.
There's a switch on. There we go. There we go. Just got Slideshow.
Hello guys. We were real lucky this summer. We got to go all the way to Australia. It was real fun, and we got some real good pictures. I'm gonna show you right now. Let's get the first one up here. Well, see, the first thing that we did was we had to dig a trench in order to urinate and put our feces in. In Australia, they don't have those regular toilets. This is actually how we had to lay down to use them. It was a bit awkward when we're all in there at the same time. Of course, there's always the guy shielding his eyes from the exposed genitalia and such. He didn't quite make it to closing his eyes. He's the guy you saw. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. That's an interesting one. Yeah, it's very interesting over there in Australia. You have those very weird practices that aren't quite customary here in the United States. And so when you're over there, you gotta change up what you do a little bit. And this next slide is going to exemplify that pretty well, I think. Click. Yeah. As you can see, we had to find ways to entertain ourselves because we didn't have those video games and such over there in Canada, don't you know? No, we were in Australia. I'm Canadian. We had to use flutes and interpretive dance in order to entertain ourselves. This one we specifically called the Flight of the Monkeys. We threw the little guy up in the air, and he actually landed on her at one point. It was very painful for her. We had to go to the hospital the next day. Yeah, that's terrible. Let's go on to the next slide. Anyways, when we were over there in Australia, we had a lot of fun times. There were also some rough times too, and we just couldn't quite figure out what to do. And we actually got into Savannah at one point, and we went on an Australian tour. And this next slide is going to be a picture of that for you. We ran into some native Australians, and they were quite vicious to us. So we had to fight to the death. And I'm telling you, fighting to the death with an Australian, they've got some muscle. They're not anything like Africans, but as you can see, they do hit you in the groin. It's quite painful indeed. That was our our Australian tour. Let's go on to the next slide. In this next slide, you're going to see us with our Australian host family. We didn't stay in a hotel like we would stay over here in America. We stayed in a person's home, and this is like the various activities that we would do with them every day, and it was a lot of fun. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, see? It's very common to carry people in Australia, and they often like to carry us in various positions. I'm not sure why. Your picture. Shut your mouth. That's cool. Yeah. This one was actually after the guy got hit in the groin. He was pretty much disabled, and so we had to carry him off. And Barbara's often broke out when we were in Australia. Yeah. Anyways, let's get on to the next slide. This next one's going to be a picture of one of the activities that we did over there in Australia. Yeah, it's quite interesting, really. Let's get it up here. Oh, I'm sorry, this is from last night. You're not supposed to see this. That's my wife. I'm very sorry. Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. Let's get to the next Australian slide. There we go. As you can see, we had a proposal. However, it was a bit awkward because you just met her that day. So that's not a face of love. That's a face of shock and awe. She said no. It was quite sad. These guys were just laughing at the whole thing. Yeah. Awkward moments happen like that all the time when you're on vacation, you know. I don't know if any of you have ever been on vacation, but when you go on vacation, you like to spend time with your friends and family, and so this is what we did when we didn't have any Australian activities going on. We just hung out, and this is one of the activities we like to do as a family. We like to make and burn effigies. It's quite fun. You take an effigy of a human with a real human above them. You light the match on the human's belly, and you just throw it on the other guy. Yeah, the other guy gets burned a little bit, but it's quite fun when you get used to it. That's a face of pain right there, yeah. Let's get on to the next slide. This next slide here is going to show you some of the customary practices of Australians like we've seen before, but this one we actually took when we were at an Australian party. Like, we didn't actually participate in this one, but this is what Australians just do in their free time. Let's see what we got here. Australians often like to do spontaneous musical numbers, and oftentimes people pass out from excitement. It's a bit too much for some, and so there's also the guy who just sits there. He's the awkward one of the group. He was the awkward one. And then these guys are getting ready to do a lift. We're going to show you that lift in the next slide, because we got this picture in sequence. So let's get in there and see that. Yeah, this lift was quite interesting. It's something that you don't really see in like American show choirs or anything like that. So this is what happened after they did the lift. Oh yeah, he fell. Had a concussion. It was quite terrible. We had to fly him back to the States. That was pretty much the end of our trip because he kind of ruined it. Yep. And so, this last picture that you're going to see is us saying goodbye to our host family in Australia. Again, Australians have some very strange customary practices, and when we said goodbye to them, it was nothing like you've ever seen before. So let's see what we had to do. What we had to do was we had to sacrifice one of our own. We had to make a human sacrifice for the Australians. As you can see, they're getting ready to devour his flesh later that day. We miss Bobby a lot, but he was the least important member of our crew, and we're getting this man back to the States. He's going to be hospitalized. He's currently in a coma. Yeah. And that was our trip to Australia. Thank you all for watching our slideshow. We hope to see you. We hope to show you more slides later. Bye. Thank you.